of the biggest mistakes I see isn't even people waiting to buy a home. It's waiting to learn how buying a home actually works. And the interesting part is learning earlier doesn't necessarily mean buying earlier. It just means making a better decision when that time eventually comes. 5 ways can quietly put people at a disadvantage even if they're still years away from buying a home. Do you know what number you're actually trying to reach? Some people still believe that they need a 20% down payment to even start talking about buying a home. Others assume that they can buy a home a lot earlier than they realistically can. So they spend years saving without knowing whether they're aiming too high or too low. For example, imagine 2 people both saving $500 a month for 3 years. One has a clear savings target based on their actual situation, while the other picks a number that sounds about right. They both saved the same amount, but one had a roadmap and the other was guessing. Know your numbers. This one has nothing to do with buying immediately. It's about giving yourself more time. Maybe you find out that your credit score could improve by paying one account differently. Maybe opening a new credit card right before applying isn't ideal. None of those changes happen overnight. But if you learn them 2 years earlier instead of 2 months earlier, you have a much more time to improve them naturally. I've noticed that a lot of people who wait till they're ready often feel like every decision has to happen all at once. Find an agent, find a lender, learn financing, understand neighborhoods, write offers, all while making one of the biggest financial decisions of their lives. Compare that to someone who spends a year casually learning, watching the market, looking at listings, understanding loan programs, learning what monthly payments actually look like. By the time they're ready, they're making decisions from familiarity instead of pressure. Housing is one of those topics where everyone seems to have an opinion. Your family, friends, financial influencers, social media, real estate agents, lenders. Sometimes it's a helpful advice, sometimes it's outdated, and sometimes it's only true for certain markets. The earlier you start learning from multiple credible sources, the easier it becomes to recognize which advice actually applies to your situation. So instead of relying on one person's opinion, you start building your own understanding. This was probably one of the biggest mindset shift for me because I've noticed a lot of people think that learning about home ownership means you're committing to one. But those aren't the same thing. Learning simply gives you more information. And sometimes that information leads you to buy. Other times it helps you decide that waiting might be a better choice. Either way, you're making a decision based on understanding instead of assumptions. I've learned that preparing is about learning and deciding is about timing. You don't have to be ready for the second one to benefit from the first one. And if buying a home is something you think you might want one day, starting to understand the process earlier usually gives you more flexibility when that day comes.